Hello everybody, welcome to this instruction video. In this video I'd like to show you part 8 of Ubuntu. Ubuntu is the Scheepjes Crochet Along 2018, designed by Deirdre Ice from Look at What I Made. In part 8 we're going to make the Banksia border. That's this edge here. So we've got this lovely flowery border. I'll take you through all the rounds that make up part 8. For part 8 I'm using a 5mm hook together with the stone washed XL yarn. Thank you for watching, and I hope it's a useful video for you. Round 3 of the border. Currently in the chain 2 there with a slip stitch. So I'm just going to slip stitch into the chain corner space. I'm going to start with a chain 4. 1, 2, 3, where the first 3 counts as your treble. Chain 1 and another treble in the same chain corner space. There you go. I'm going to move the stitch marker up to the new corner. You don't have to if you don't want to. I'm just going to do this because I started it. Now going to work the straight edge. I'm going to work 6 of the same edges. So I'll show you the first edge and then you can repeat all the others. We're going to skip the first stitch, that's that one there. It's also a bit hidden and that's a half treble, that's rather hard to get into anyway. So we're going to skip this stitch and then go to the next. That's going to be the first of 6 trebles that we're going to be working. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is number 6. There you go. So 6 trebles, skipping that first stitch. I'm now going to start a small repeat unit with you over the next 10 stitches, and that repeat unit we're going to do that 11 times in total. The repeat starts with chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Then skip the next 2 stitches and in the third stitch work a slip stitch. That's 1, 2 skip, and in the third work a slip stitch. Chain 8. It's going to make a loop. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Chain 8. Then come down and in that same stitch you already have a slip stitch. You're going to work another slip stitch. That's going to close your loop. Okay. See, that closes your loop. Another chain 3. So it's the same as on the other side. And then skip again 2 stitches and then we work 5 trebles. Skipping 1, 2 stitches, here in the third stitch, going to work the first treble. This is the first of 5, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is number 5. This is your repeat unit, so starting at the chain 3 and ending here at the 5th treble. This we're going to do 11 times in total. I've just done once with you, so we need to do 10 more. I'm going to show you the repeat unit once more, and then I'll make a jump in the video. So the repeat unit again, chain 3. Skip 2 stitches, it's 1, 2, 2 skip, and then work a slip stitch. Chain 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Chain 8, and then in the same stitch work a slip stitch. Chain 3, skipping 2 stitches again, and in the third I'm going to work a treble. So 1, 2, skip, and then work a treble, and this is again the first of 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is 5. Now done the repeat 2 times with you. Repeat this 9 more times, so until you have 11. Then you'll have 1 stitch left before your next corner, and I'll just see you up to the end of that 11th repeat. I'm at the end of the 11th repeat, so this was my 11th repeat, so I have 11 of these loops, and those were the 5 trebles, and if everything went right you have 1 stitch left before the corner. In that last stitch you work a treble. Then in the corner, the chain 1 corner space, work a treble, chain 1 and a treble. I'm going to move the stitch marker to the new corner position, and then everything between the corners you're going to repeat again on your next edge, because this corner we've just made is of course exactly the same as the corner we started with, this one here. That means everything we've just done you're going to repeat. Start again with 6 trebles and then work this repeat unit of those 10 over the next 10 stitches. And when you get to the end you've got 1 stitch left, work a treble and then a new corner. Go all the way around, so you're going to do same on all your edges, all 6 of them, and then on your last repeat you're going to close with a slip stitch on the third of those 4 chain stitches. Round 4 of the border, currently in that chain stitch there with the slip stitch, just going to move to the chain 1 space with a slip stitch. To start the first corner, I'm going to do a chain 4, 3, 4, where the first 3 counts as your treble, plus chain 1, and then another treble in the same corner space. That's your new corner made, so I'm just going to move the stitch marker up. We're now going to start the repeats on the straight edge, and that of course you're going to do on all your straight edges. On your first 7 stitches here, you're going to work a treble on each. In that first stitch, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that last one there, 7. We've got 7 trebles on the first 7 stitches. You've now reached this this flower part that we did last round. We're going to work a chain 5. We're actually going to start a small repeat unit now that we're going to do 11 times. Start with a chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you're going to skip this bit here in the middle, so the chain 3, the chain 8 loop and the chain 3. You're going to move over to the 5 trebles. You're going to work a treble on each of those. So you're going to work 5 trebles. And this first stitch, that one there, if you don't see it, just tug on your chain 3 and then you'll see that stitch opening up there. So that first one, the first treble, it's 1, 2, 3, this here is 4, and that's the last one there is 5. There we go. this is your repeat unit. You're going to do this 10 more times. So the chain 5 and then the 5 trebles. So it means here on your next little bit, you're going to do chain 5, then skipping the flower here, work 5 trebles on those 5 trebles from the last round. So this bit, repeat this 10 more times, and then I'll see you at the end of the first edge. I'm almost to the next corner. If everything went right after you've done your last repeat, so this is repeat number 11, so the chain 5 and the 5 trebles, you should have 2 stitches left. On those last 2 stitches, work a treble on each. That's 1 and 2. In the chain corner space, you work a treble, chain 1, and a treble. I'm going to hook up the stitch marker in the new corner, and then we're back where we started for the next edge. So I'm going to start again with the 7 trebles, then chain 5, skip the flower bit, and then work 5 trebles again on those next 5 stitches. Go all the way around, and when you get back to the beginning, you'll of course work those last 2 trebles and then close with a slip stitch on that first. It's a chain 4, remember, if I can just find it. It is here somewhere. Here we go. Just after you've worked those last 2 trebles, then you close on the chain 3 with a slip stitch. Round 5 of the border. I'm going to move the slip stitch to the chain 1 space. Now we're going to start the new corner. It's a chain 4, which counts as a treble and a chain 1, and another treble in the same space. I'm going to move up the stitch marker. There you go. We're ready for the repeat on the first straight edge. In the first 3 stitches, work a treble. This is 1, 2, and 3. So in your first 3 stitches, you have a treble. Now I'm going to start a repeat unit over the next 5 stitches and the chain 5 space. This repeat over these stitches we're going to do 11 times. What we're going to do is we're going to be making another series of these loops. So this flower here, we're going to repeat that here, and we're going to work in the chain 5 space and connect this chain 8 loop to our work. That's what we're going to be doing. First bit, we start with a chain 3. Then skip the first 2 stitches, so it's 1, 2, then come to the 3rd stitch and work a slip stitch. Now a chain 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So chain 8, and in that same space work a slip stitch. So in the same stitch, I should say. The same stitch, so you already have a slip stitch, you work another slip stitch. Chain 3. You have 2 stitches left before the chain space. You're going to skip those 2 stitches. Then in the chain space, I'm going to start by working a treble in that space. Followed by a treble 2 together. The first leg and then the second leg. 3 loops on your hook, take them all off. Just going to move them a little bit to the side. Going to work a treble in the chain 5 space and through the chain 8 loop, so connecting this loop to our work. Yarn over, go through the chain 8 and the chain 5, pick up your yarn and complete the treble. If you want, you can just move that a little bit, that chain there is nicely divided either side. And here on the other side of the loop, work a treble 2 together in the chain 5 space. So 1 and 2, and take them off. And lastly, work a treble in the chain 5 space. This is your repeat, starting at the chain 3 and ending here at the treble. Going to do this 10 more times. I'll show you once more and then I'll make a jump in the video. So over the next 5 stitches, going to work the same as there. So that's a chain 3. You have 5 stitches here, going to skip 2. That means in the center stitch and the center of those 5, going to work a slip stitch. Chain 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And work another slip stitch in the same position. So here in the same stitch, work another slip stitch. You've got that loop there. Chain 3. You have 2 stitches left before the chain space. Going to skip those 2 stitches and go here to the chain 5. Work a treble in there, followed by a treble 2 together. 1, 2, take them off. Work a treble through the chain 8 and the chain 5. So grabbing them all together, complete the treble. If you want to just kind of divide that equally there. On the other side here of the loop, work a treble 2 together, take them off, and finish with a treble in the chain 5 space. There we go. Now work the repeat twice with you. Going to do this bit 9 more times. When you're finished with this last treble in your last chain 5 space, I'll see you at that point just to finish the edge. I've completed the small repeat 11 times, so this is the last treble. And you've got 8 stitches left before you get to the next corner. Over the first 5, we're going to make another flower. So that's chain 3. Then skip 2 stitches, and in the 3rd stitch make a slip stitch. Chain 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, and a slip stitch in the same stitch as we already have that slip stitch. Chain 3, then skipping 2 stitches, work a treble on the last 3. That's 1, 2, skip, and then work 1, 2, and here on the last stitch before the corner space, 3 trebles. Brings us to the next corner. We're going to work a treble, chain 1 and a treble. Remove the stitch marker and bring it to the next chain corner space. And this corner is exactly the same as the corner we started with, which means everything we've done is going to repeat again. So we're going to work 3 trebles, then work over those 5, work the flower, come to the chain 5 space, etc. Go all the way around, and when you get back, you're going to close with a slip stitch on your first corner. You'll have that chain 4 and close on the 3rd chain with the slip stitch. Round 6 of the border. Currently with a slip stitch in that chain stitch, I'm just going to go to the chain 1 space with a slip stitch. Then to start the new round, to do a chain 4. This counts as a treble and a chain 1, and then work another treble in the chain 1 corner space. That's your new corner. Let's move the stitch marker up. Now to start the first edge, you have here 4 stitches. Going to work a treble on each of those. It's 1, 2, 3, and the last one here, 4. We're now going to start a small repeat unit. This is very similar to what we did 2 rows down. Going to work a chain 5, then skipping this flower here, go to the stitches, those 5 stitches, and work a treble on each of those. And don't get confused because you've got the double, the treble 2, yes, it was a treble 2 together that we worked there. So don't get confused with that. It is 5 stitches. You're going to work a treble on each of those. So the repeat unit, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then skipping this entire flower, so all these loops, go to that first stitch, and see if I just open it up, you see that stitch there. I'm going to work a treble in it. That's the first of 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and the last one here, 5. There we go, 5 trebles. And this unit, starting from the chain 5 and the 5 trebles, going to do that 10 more times, so 11 times in total. That means here on the next repeat, going to do a chain 5, then skip all of this, and then on those 5 stitches work a treble on each. So I'm going to make a jump in the video, so do this 10 more times, and then I'll just see you for the last bit of this straight edge. I've just done the repeat 11 times. This is the last of those 5 trebles. You should now have 1 flower left and 4 stitches before you get to your next corner. I'm going to work a chain 5 to skip this last flower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chain 5, then skipping this last flower. In those 4 trebles, work a treble on each. So 1, 2, 3, and here's the last one, 4. So on those last 4 stitches you've worked a treble. Onto the corner space, I'm going to work a treble chain 1 and treble in that corner space to make a new corner. Just going to move the stitch marker up for my own reference. There we go. And in this corner is of course exactly the same as the corner we started with. So on the next straight edge you're going to do exactly the same. Start with 4 trebles, chain 5 to skip the flower, and then work 5 trebles again. Go all the way around. When you get to your first stitch, close on the third of those 4 chain stitches with a slip stitch. Round 7 of the border. This round we're going to be working a lot of double crochets, and they can pull tight if you tend to pull your yarn too tight. So keep your tension steady, maybe a little looser, just to prevent this round from really pulling in. If you're finding that your work pulls in a lot, maybe consider going up hook size, but I would suggest that you especially just pay attention to your tension, and I think then that will really help a lot already. We're going to start this round by going with a slip stitch into the chain corner space and then chain 1. This chain 1 is not a stitch, it's just to get you to the right working height. Now in the chain 1 corner here from the previous round, work a double crochet. There's the first one already. Chain 2. This chain 2 is your new corner, and then another double crochet in the same space. That's your new corner. I'm just going to move the stitch marker to the chain 2 space. That's your new corner. On the straight edge you have 5 stitches here. We're going to skip the first one, that's that one, we're going to skip that and then go to the second and work the first of 4. So all of these other 4 stitches all get a double. So that's 1, this is 2, 3 and 4. So 4 double crochets and skipping that first stitch. Now going to work a small repeat unit, and we're going to do this 12 times. That will bring you to your next corner. We're going to work very similar now as what we did here when we wanted to connect this flower petal. We did that with those trebles. Now we're going to do the same, but we're going to do it with double crochets. In the chain 5 space, work 2 doubles. So 1 and 2. I'm going to move them up a bit. Then through the chain 8 space of this chain loop here and the chain 5, so both of them together, grab your yarn and work a double. And then on the other side of the chain of the loop here in the chain 5 space, work 2 more double crochets. There you go. On these 5 stitches, it won't surprise you, you're going to work a double on each of those. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and those 10 stitches, that's your repeat unit. You're going to do that 12 times in total. I've already done once with you, so you need to do 11 more. That means you're on the next space going to work 2 doubles, then a double through the chain 8 loop connecting it to your work, then 2 more doubles on the other side, and then a double on each of those 5 stitches. Repeat this to the end. That will bring you to the next corner. I'll just see you at the next corner. Round 7, I've done the repeat now 11 times, and I still need to do number 12, and that's actually going to work out exactly here. I'll just do the last repeat with you. That's 2 double crochets in the chain 5 space, double crochet through the chain 8 loop and the chain 5, so bringing everything together. Then here on this side, chain in the chain 8, 2 double crochets. You have 5 stitches left before you get to the corner. Those are exactly the 5 stitches you need to finish the repeat. So the repeat works out exactly 3, 4 and 5. 5 double crochets. That brings you to the corner. In the corner you work a double, chain 2, which is your new corner space, and another double. That's the corner space. I'm just going to move the stitch marker in there. This corner is exactly the same as the corner we started with. That means you can now do the repeat again. So skipping the first stitch, work 4 doubles, and then here you're at the next chain space. Go all the way around. When you get to the first double crochet, so not that chain 1, but the first double crochet of the corner, close on that stitch with a slip stitch. Round 8 of the border, last round for this part. Currently in that double crochet there with a slip stitch. I'm just going to move to the chain 1 space with a slip stitch. Now, for this edge, in the corners we're going to work 2 trebles, chain 2 and 2 trebles. Then we're going to skip the first stitch and work a treble on every stitch on the straight edge. So the corner, going to work 2 trebles. I'm going to start off with 2 trebles, but of course the first treble is a chain 3 followed by a normal treble. So you've got 2 trebles, chain 2 and 2 trebles. And 2. Going to move the stitch marker. Of course you don't really need it here, you can really see where that corner is in this case, but there you go. So chain 3 counts as a treble, so this is 2 trebles, chain 2 and 2 trebles in the corner. I'm going to be doing this in every corner. I'm going to skip the first stitch, that's that one there. So I'm going to skip that stitch, then go to the second and work a treble, and then you're going to continue and work a treble on every stitch, and that's 125 in total. So work 125 trebles, and when you get to your next corner you're going to work a new corner, which is going to be 2 trebles, chain 2 and 2 trebles. And then you're going to continue like this all the way around. Remember that first stitch, just skip that first stitch, then go all the way around. When you get here to your back to the corner where we started, you're closing on the chain 3 treble with a slip stitch. And when you're all done, you've done a considerable part of your border already. It's been quite a lot of work, and if you have the XL kit like I have, you already have quite a substantially large blanket, but we're going to make it a little bit bigger yet. That we'll do next week. Remember to leave your yarn attached, because we're just going to continue here next week. I hope to see you back then.